Hey everybody, Kyle here. It is July 20th, 5 days after my YouTube birthday, which means today is my actual birthday. So I'm turning even older. I kind of don't want to say the number because it's too high of a number for my liking and I'm a little embarrassed by it. So I'm just going to say that I'm 100,000 in base 2. Or 20 in hex. That sounds better. I am 20 years old in hex. Anyway, I thought it would be a fun idea to look up July 20th in history and just find out what big awesome events happened in that day. Just sort of do like a recap of July 20th in history. On this day in 1304, there was the fall of the Stirling Castle in Scotland. Sassenach Bastard, King Edward I, defeated the Scots with the biggest trebuchet of all time. I mean, it sucks that Scotland lost, because that's, you know, my heritage and my background, but I'm a nerd, so I can totally appreciate it taking the largest trebuchet of all time to take them down. 1592 was the very first Japanese invasion of Korea. The troops made it as far as Pyongyang, which is now the capital of North Korea, or Best Korea, as it's known on Reddit, and they weren't able to keep it. They were, eventually driven out. So, again, as someone who used to live in Korea, I think that's a little bit interesting. On July 20th, 1871, British Columbia joined the Confederation of Canada. As someone who's a Canadian, I like it when my country gets bigger. As a population map of my nation will clearly show, it really doesn't matter what you do with it. It is the size that counts. July 20th, 1903, the Ford Motor Company shipped out its very first car. Now, I mean, I'm not particularly fond of the Ford Motor Company or American cars in general. I'm tempted to say I wouldn't be caught dead in one, but that's a lie, and that's kind of the reason why I don't want to be in one. 1944 was that big assassination attempt against Hitler with, what's his name? Klaus von Stauffenberg. Forgive me if I've horribly mispronounced that. I don't speak German. July 20th, 1968 was the very first Special Olympics. This is the big one that everyone should know without having to look it up. July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong lands the little lunar lander guy on the Sea of Tranquility, and he and Buzz Aldrin become the first two humans to walk on the surface of the moon. Supposedly. A lot of people think it was actually filmed on a soundstage on Mars. On July 20th, 1976, the Viking 1 lander landed on Mars. This one, I was up really late last night when I was researching this stuff, so I got really excited when I saw that in 1997 the fully restored Constitution ship celebrated its 200th birthday and set sail for the first time in like 116 years. I was really excited until I realized that it was a ship called the Constitution and not a Constitution-classed ship that was being launched. That would have been much more exciting. And lastly, July 20th, 2005, Canada became the 4th country in the world to end marriage discrimination against same-sex couples. So it's nice seeing your country, being on the leading edge of social progress. In fact, I think that was the kind of last great thing our nation did, because shortly afterwards we elected dear leader. I thought it might be an idea to look up other famous people that shared my birthday, and I actually didn't know this, but Alexander the Great shares my birthday, July 20th. Or I guess technically I share his because he was born first, but I'm sure someone had the birthday before him. Another person with a July 20th birthday was Gregor Mendel, the Augustinian friar, who is also known as the founder of the modern science of genetics, which, that's a pretty awesome thing. So, and of course, back in 1983, I was born. I guess I'm, thanks for birthing me, Mom. I'm sorry I interrupted your dinner while I was being born. But I do appreciate it, and I love you. And, yeah, happy birthday to me. It is now 12:01. It is no longer my birthday.